In this video, we're going to build a hearth. We're going to build a hearth just like this hearth. We're going to put a stove on it after the video's over, just like this stove. And it's going to work wonderfully. What I have here is about 1 inch of high strength mortar mix that kind of comes over a form and then cascades down to make the front. And went through a lot of rigmarole to get it, but Janet and I are very happy with it. Where did we get the idea from for this?
I was just looking at hearths and I found one that went all the way to the wall and it was big.
Yeah, I was very confused as to if I wanted to have a little hearth that stuck out like that. And we looked at a lot of things, but then we ended up just doing the whole corner, and honestly, we love it. So to begin with, we snapped a line on the floor. The form's gonna be 53 inches off the wall, 8 feet long, and 10 inches high. I'll go ahead and show you what I got. So I took 2 pieces of, I don't know, it's like shelving material, 12 inches, 8 feet long, cut it down to 10 inches because that's how high my hearth is gonna be. Went ahead and ripped it, and now I'm gonna take these two and I'm gonna establish the outside perimeter, and then I'll caulk it in place. To start with my outside mold, I have the shelving standing inside of the hearth, and I made a corner. Pre-drilled the corner, put some flat-headed screws in there. Took the pieces that I cut off the 12 inch to make it 10 inch. Put some pocket screws in them every so often. Screwed them down to the floor. You can see I snapped the line on the inside, so I moved it right to my line. And there's my outside mold. Now that would take a lot of concrete. Cost me $1,000 maybe, I don't know. Stuff's like 16 bucks a bag or something like that. So now on the inside of it, I'm gonna build a platform and make an edge so that basically it'll just be a 1 inch thick piece of concrete, or it's actually high strength mortar. After I got it all secured down, then I caulked to the floor and I caulked up my corners. That way I won't have any squishies coming out. Haven't caulked right there yet, but that's next. I'm going to show you the platform. Put the platform, I only put 4 corners in it. I was thinking everything had to be precise, and then kind of dawned on me, this platform just sits 1 inch underneath. I mean, if it's 1/8 of an inch low or 1/8 of an inch high, it'll be just fine, as long as it's not rocking. So there's the platform. Once I get it in place, I'll throw some more legs in it, make it nice and strong, especially right where the stove is going to be sitting. Going to probably have a lot of little legs underneath the stove, so that part is very, very firm. Made the platform 1.5 inches lower so that when I put the 1/2 inch OSB on it, I'll be 1 inch thick. Hope that works. Next thing I did was drill a hole in the floor, put a 4 inch PVC down. You can feel air's just gushing up through this. So this whole bottom underneath here will be open. I'm thinking I need to, I don't know, probably get an elbow, stick a 90 on there and run it over to where the stove is and pop it up through. I'll figure that out later. Next thing I did is I drilled a 4 inch hole in the floor, put a 4 inch pipe down through it. You can barely see the top of the pipe right there. And I set this on it, caulked around the pipe so there's no air getting around the pipe and into my contraption. Took the dryer vent that I took apart to build the adapter for the stove. maybe I'll go video that. It's like $80 to get this little adapter. So this is taped. This is taped all around. Let's see if I can get the other side of it. There we go. Then I can pull this out. Air is just flooding through this thing. So this will get fresh air to my stove. That was very awkward filming. I put these blocks down so that when I slip the form, it'll bump up against the blocks and not be able to slide back. I could even put a little screw through the block into it since everything stays. That should be fine. This is where the stove sits. So I put four legs under there, a leg in the back. I used expanding foam and I sealed up the corners, which you can't really see. And I ran expanding foam on the bottom and everything so I won't get any flow through. I also put a row of legs down the center over there underneath that OSB. And cut my OSB a little bit short. That'll just help that corner to be a little beefier there. Have my pipe, it's not fixed in place, I'll have it so it comes up through straight, but just in case that was bad, I'm gonna redo the edge. We're about ready to pour. We have 3.5 quarts of water, is that right, 3.5 quarts?
Mm-hmm.
In all the buckets, and we have one thing showing what the dye looks like, one thing of dye in each bucket. And then we have the set control and the flow control. The first 3 buckets don't get the set or the flow, because they're just gonna kind of dump in real quickly and we'll be done with them. And then when it gets to the top where I'm gonna be finishing, that's where I'll use the flow control and the set control to give me a little bit of time. But we're gonna go for it. I'm nervous as heck. You can see the edges here. I caulked anywhere because this product is very liquidy, so it should hopefully stay where it goes. And we're getting ready to start mixing. Can't be filming while we're mixing though, because it takes 2 of us, although Janet might want to film while I'm mixing.
I might.
That's good.
Not quite mixed.
Yeah.
Well, at least it's not the important part. I mean, it's all important, but you know what I mean.
So here it is, all poured. I definitely have some swirls to get in there, but it's just way too soft. I'd hoped it would all kind of do like it did there on the back, where it just kind of self-leveled. And I don't know, maybe it would have if I would have done it correctly, but then I had some spots, so I got in here with the trowel and I kind of worked on it. Whoa. But once it gets hard, I'll get up there and hopefully I'll be able to get this stuff out. If not, it'll be a failure. It'll still hold the stove though. We will find out shortly. Okay, it's been several hours. I didn't put flow control in the first batch that went along the front edge and filled up that part of the curve. I wish I had of. I think with flow control, it would have not had those pits. Now I have to mix up some mortar mix and everything and get a rag and go through and sack the front of it, but that's no big deal. But what was weird, I want to show you. This corner, hard as a rock. I mean, I couldn't get over there to finish it. It just turned hard. Down in here, turned hard pretty fast, and then it was just wet. And now a couple hours later, I don't know if you can tell, it's still right there. If you put your finger there, it'll just make a big dent. It's like it's not going off at all. So I'm not really sure what's up with that. So because how do you finish something where it's setting up and 8 inches away, it's a puddle of mud. So I took a rag and I sacked it, gave it that rough look, and then tomorrow I'll go over it and kind of scrub her down and sweep off the stuff. But that is just surprising right there. It is so wet you can't even touch it. Makes it hard to finish this stuff. I can see why they build forms and do it upside down and flip it over, because this was terrible. But at the end of the day, it's going to hold the wood stove. It'll look like a massive concrete hearth, and everything will be just fine. I wasn't really happy with the way it came out. It's not horrible, but it came out a little grayish looking. So what I'm going to do is I have some concrete all, which can be feathered down to 0. And I'm going to mix that up. I'm going to put in 1 bag of retardant and 3 bags of flow control. See if I can get it so it flows nicely. And I'm going to try to just basically put a thin coat over the top, let it waterfall down the side, and maybe I'll have something that I like better than this, or it could be horrible. We will see how it comes out. Well, here's the finished product. Take 2. The top was a lot easier to finish. I still couldn't reach all the way to the back, and I put a piece of styrofoam, actually, there it is right there, on it, got on my knees and got back there, but that really messed this up and it took me a while. I'm not quite done. There's still a few little bumps and ripples in there, but it's many times better than the first one. Now I just hope that it at least keeps this dark charcoal color, because I do like the color. The front I sacked with a grout sponge. Not really the best, but it was the best I could do. I'm gonna go over it just a little bit, see if I can fill in a couple park marks. But right now, if I touch it, I just make a mess. So I'm gonna have a nice cold glass of water and be chill, and we'll see how this color remains. By the way, this was 2 bottles of charcoal gray mixed with 1 bag of Cimental, and that gave me this color. Let's hope it stays. Oh, look at this. I've fixed a lot of these, but they still keep coming up. I pop them with my corner of my trowel. We will see how it works. So a couple things that I wish I had done differently. Number 1, I made the step 10 inches. It should have been 7 inches. Stepping up and down off of it, it's just too high. There's no reason why it couldn't have been 7 inches. Would have been a very comfortable step. Number 2 is I should have put a little screed board on the back and just dealt with it. I wanted a clean look, but that clean look ended up just complicating it a lot. Number 3 is I wish I had just polished it. If I had used the grinder and just polished it, it would have looked beautiful. And in the long run, what I ended up doing was painting it. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. We really love our hearth, and we have plenty more videos to come. Hopefully they'll be fast now, and everybody have a Merry Christmas. Good night.